Well, ISIS is a group that actually has morphed from a series of other groups out of Al-Qaeda primarily. It started off with a man by the name of Al-Zarqawi. He was part of Al-Qaeda. He was much more of the more extreme form. And even back when he was in Iraq, he ran into difficulties with bin Laden and with Al-Zawahiri, who now runs Al-Qaeda today, because of his savagery and his brutality. Following 9/11, he went from Afghanistan into Iraq and set up the affiliate there in Iraq called Al-Qaeda in Iraq. One of his disciples was Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who today has declared himself to be the emir of the caliph of ISIS itself. Once AQI, or Al-Qaeda in Iraq, went into Syria to fight, it helped create Jabhat al-Nusra, which ultimately became the Al-Qaeda affiliate in Syria, while we still had Al-Qaeda in Iraq as a separate group. Baghdadi then went into Syria and tried to bring al-Nusra under AQI to create then the Islamic State of Iraq and al-Sham, which is ISIS. It was also called the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant. It's the same thing. It's the Sham actually means Greater Syria, and historically Greater Syria included all of the Levant. We still call it ISIS today. And so once he took over back in June of 2014, we moved into Iraq from Syria and took over Fallujah earlier in 2014. Then Fallujah fell. ISIS occupied that, and at that point they began to basically clear the political lines between Syria and Iraq. So by August, ISIS came so much into its own that al-Baghdadi declared the Islamic State and the Caliphate, which he now said is going to rule both portions of Syria and Iraq. It's all Sunni. Anyone who doesn't, the extreme Sunni from the Wahhabi ideology, which originated out of Saudi Arabia. And he's much more, and what's intriguing is that al-Baghdadi at one time during the Gulf War II, was actually a prisoner, U.S. prisoner at Camp Bucca. And that's where he infamously said, upon his release under an amnesty program, to the commander of the U.S. commander of Camp Bucca, that I'll see you in New York. Well, what did he mean by that? Well, it just so happened that it was a National Guard unit out of New York that was in charge of guarding Camp Bucca at the time. There was also a signal that he was going to start developing fighters, so that actually start training fighters to then go back into their own countries. And he's been doing that quite successfully. He's grabbed an enormous number of foreign fighters from various countries, particularly from the West, and something like more than 5,000 at this point. And and a few hundred from the United States and Australia, and Great Britain. So these countries are very concerned that these fighters are going to come on back and work with others, and particularly those who have been radicalized within the United States or in these other countries, and actually begin to undertake attacks within their respective countries and homelands.